I'm on another island today and I found this beautiful garden and I wanted to show you some things these folks are doing with creating their own soil amendments.
Our Comfrey Tea, and what I normally do is mix it ends up being a cup per gallon for watering and things after they're planted. I'll make it stronger if something's struggling a little bit, and so it's just this very black.
It almost looks like a little syrup.
I know.
So it's 1 cup of this per gallon of water.
Yep.
And then you'll use that for a foliar feed or for a root drench or for transplants.
Yep. And then the comfrey gets harvested and cut up and just put in here.
Okay.
With no water, and it doesn't get changed, and then it just begins to decompose and makes the concentrate. So really simple.
So there's no actual water added, so all liquid is what, as the comfrey decomposes and the liquid kind of leaches out, but you're not adding any liquid to it. And this is sitting up off the bottom of the barrel on a cinder block.
Correct.
And it's really important, you said, that when you drain the liquid, you have to drain the liquid frequently enough that you don't have it seeping up and keeping this wet or having this sitting in water.
Correct.
And what's interesting to me is that it smells really surprisingly good. If you open this one up, it smells, it's decomposing, but it doesn't smell sour. It doesn't smell like sulfur. It doesn't smell like ammonia. It doesn't smell rotten in any way. It almost smells like a sweet decomposition.
Yeah, and when you get it on you, and I mean, it
Yeah.
always smells pretty pleasant for what it is.
It's really interesting. So then will you show us how you grow the comfrey and what comfrey you use for this?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the row of comfrey, and it's Russian comfrey, which is important in that if you use a different kind, it's really hard to eradicate if that is ever wanted. This will be harvested about between 4 and 6 times during the growing season.
Okay.
And when it gets harvested, we chop it up in little pieces so that it packs tighter into the barrel, and I find that helps it decompose quicker, and you fit more in a barrel because it obviously has a ton of biomass. Here, the perfect time when we would harvest it before the blooms start to open.
I think what's interesting about comfrey, I was thinking about why this is such a great plant for this, is I think it's relatively high in protein, high in nitrogen, and then also there's a lot of water in the plant. So a drier, stemmier plant may not decompose quite as well with that method. And again, it's high in nitrogen, and it has some other. It also has deep roots and likely pulls a lot of micronutrients up from the soil as well, and accumulates that in its tissue. So these are all things that might make it particularly good for a system like this. Tell me, what have you seen in the soil, like how you're using it, and then what you've seen in your results.
So I've been using this in 2 different places, and what I noticed is once we were really consistent in watering in when we were transplanting, the plants seemed way more robust.
Okay.
And what they produced was large. And when we used it for something that was struggling, it didn't take long before you could see a difference in like an improvement in the plant. They inoculate the biochar and the wood chips that go into the compost. They get soaked in manure and with compost tea before it gets mixed in with the compost itself.
It's really interesting to me to hear you, as you describe how you're using it and what might be going on. There's not enough nutrients in that extract to just purely mineral nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, all your other micronutrients, to show the difference you say that you're seeing. It would have some nutrients, but very, very, very dilute. And it made me think of 2 different things. One is secondary metabolites, so the bacteria that are decomposing this, and as they go into their secondary metabolic phase, they start to produce things like plant growth hormones. And I wonder if partially that's what we're seeing. So you're seeing a stimulation of the plant growth and maybe even microbial activity based on these secondary metabolites. And I also wonder if you're not seeing more protozoa activity, and the protozoa are very voracious feeders. They eat like 10,000 bacteria a day or something. And as they eat these bacteria, they're spitting out nitrogen all the time, which is then again, and other nutrients as well, which means they're improving that nutrient cycle. So there are a lot of nutrients that are in the soil that the plants can't get to if the microbes aren't active enough, and all the microbes, all the different kinds of microbes. And so I wonder if a couple of those things are also going on. So you're stimulating the soil microbial diverse food web, including these protozoa that are eating a lot of bacteria and releasing nutrients, and then also some of these plant growth, these secondary metabolites that are plant growth stimulants. And there may be other things going on as well, but those are the two that come to mind in terms of why we might be seeing such a striking difference with something that's really, if you look at just chemistry, it's a very, very dilute nutrient source, like not enough to show to have the benefits you're seeing. If you look.
I'd always say, well, in some way it's strengthening the plants. It's giving them something, where they're stronger against pests. They are growing quicker.
There's the chemistry part, and then there's the biology part, and of course they're related, but there's some nutrients, and also maybe there's some micronutrients in here, and the plants need a very, very tiny bit, but it makes a huge difference in plant health, even at a very small dose, plus again the biology part of it. And it's a complex system, and we don't fully understand all of the reasons things work, but it is fun to see it working out in the garden and or on the farm, and trying to understand why it's working.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So cool.